Hi there, this is Popo, I hope you're all fine. Welcome back to the Matches Neura tournament, round 3. And today we're going to review the two games played between e3gewinnt and praseodymiumspike. So let's get started. Okay, so for this first game, e3gewinnt gets the white pieces with the Dragons faction, and praseodymiumspike as the Scarbo player plays the Others faction the opponent has in hand. So they're going to play the Vampires. So on next game, they're going just to switch the places and play with the same factions. So the Dragons faction allows you to get some compensation every time one of your pieces die. So if you get very cool with traits, you can get way ahead in terms of material in the end game. For the Vampires, it allows you to sacrifice your pawns to get some activity or even strike very hard into the game and get some big attacks, so you have to be very careful. Let's see how it goes. The game starts with head to d4, we have Ghoul to d5 and head to c4. So the Queen's Gambit, we have Ghoul to c6, the decline variation, head captures, Ghoul captures, and you see that already one head is captured. The head is some kind of torpedo pawn that can move 2 squares every time, but if 2 heads get captured, the Hydra would spawn a third head immediately when the square is available just in front of it, so just be careful here. We have Wyvern to f4, and now you have to be a little careful, because this Wyvern, when it's captured exactly 1 square away, the piece that captures it vanishes. So you have to do something against this threat. And moreover, you have to do something against this threat. For me, the best move in the position is to go to c6. If you decide to go here, there's the simple trade here. If you decide to go here, then you're just going to slide the remember, you can't take it. Okay? So after this, you're just going to slide the count, and let's say that the game continues with drake to f3, then you're just going to play wolf to f6, which goes with a little trap. If you don't pay attention, then I'm going to take my own pawn with the wolf, and on the same turn decide to take a second time. So this is called the blood gem here. The wolf can take a ghoul, and if there's another way in the knight range to capture, it can capture on the same turn. So when I was talking about strikes, this is this kind of strike. So in the game we have Ghoul to a6, which is played, so completely ignoring the threat, and now we have a Wyvern to e5. And now what do? This is attacked here, and this is attacked here. So you have to defend. So again, wolf to c6 seems to be correct. Only problem is that now you run into Wyvern takes g7, and after the Banshee captures, then you're the up pawn. And somehow the black structure is dismantled. But at what cost here? Maybe you can go for deeper tactics later on with the Wyvern, so I'm not sure that e3gewinnt would go for it, even this looks very tempting. But in the game we have this even more surprising Ghoul to f6, so opening the game and just hanging on a wolf. So after Wyvern takes b8, you can't take it back, else it's going to vanish. So you have to find something. So here we have Ghoul to e6, which is played, somehow trying to defend the structure here. Now the Wyvern goes back to c7, attacking the count, so the count slides to d7, and now we have drag to c3, and okay, now the dragons are completely winning the game, and when they are ahead of material on the early game, I can assure you that this is going to be the case for the whole game here. So we have now Banshee to b4, trying to get a pin, and this is a very nice pin actually. You have also to be careful, because if there's some move like this happening on the board, that would attack the Wyvern, and also at the same time that would attack this with the blood gem here. So after captures, you capture and you win the material here. And even if you don't have any piece developed here like this, you have to put this in the way to defend this, so be careful. In the game we have Hydra to c2, which is the best move in the position, and now wolf goes to e7. So again, this is the same threat. He wants to go here, he wants to get here, so we have Wyvern to a5, which is played. Here I would rather go here on b8. I mean, no one can attack you here, so you're pretty safe. And if there's something like, I don't know, wolf to c6 which is played, then you just get back here, and as the wolf is not well placed, maybe it gives you a chance to go here, and if they go, you just repeat the moves and normally you should be fine. So yeah, why not? Also, you can try to maneuver this as this and try to get for a trade, even I don't like that. But on the game, Wyvern to a5 is played, and this is kind of a blunder here. Because now we have Banshee going to d6, and somehow your Wyvern is trapped. Let's say you don't pay attention, you're going to run into Ghoul to b6, and you can't take this Ghoul, else you're going to get some hard time here and be taken. So here e3gewinnt decided to get Wyvern to d8, but this move doesn't work because this is just captured by the king, and the Wyvern effect doesn't affect the king, so hard for you. But in the game, praseodymiumspike didn't see that and played wolf to c6. I was shocked. So instead we have Wyvern to b6, and fortunately this Wyvern can try to reroute here. But praseodymiumspike didn't want it to happen, so he decided to apply the Banshee effect. So when it captures an old Ghoul, if there's one piece going orthogonal 1 square, he can slide to 1 square and capture this piece. And because this is 1 piece away, it vanishes. So yeah, okay, now you're down 4 points of material. I mean, you have a lot of activity, but you should castle queenside, kingside later, very soon, and try to get the activity, else you're going to lose this game. Now we've had to d3, which is played, and wolf to b4, attacking the Hydra. I'm not sure this is the right move, but why not? The Hydra goes back to d2, and now the Tongs gets its own pawn. Here, when it takes its own pawn, it can decide to jump as a move. So that will be interesting to try to reroute this here, trying to get for the pin and trying to get here to attack that. So it would be interesting to take, and then I would attack the Hydra. I don't know. A lot of stuff can be played here. But unfortunately for praseodymiumspike, e3gewinnt did see this and decided to play pawn to a3, kicking the wolf. And now this pin is not available here, so the drake is pretty free. Now we have a Wyvern to d3, so attacking the Tom runs to b6, and now we have Wyvern to b5, and this is a very killer move here, because it threats to capture, and you can't capture 1 square away, so it forces the count to go to c8 here. Now we have Drake to f3, and we have short castle, and the wolf to a7. Here it attacks back the Wyvern, and you have to make some choice on where you're going to get it. If you are thinking that Wyvern to d4 could be interesting because it doesn't defend this pawn, and after this you can capture here, remember that this pawn can jump as a move and just capture it, so that doesn't work. So here in the game we have Wyvern back to d3, which is for me the best move to be played here, and now we have Tom takes f6, and this is kind of a blunder. I mean, getting the activity with the vampires is the way to proceed, but you have to be careful because heads are torpedo pawns, so you just have head to e5, which is played, and now you're bad here in this position. I think what you should play in this position is just Banshee captures here. And okay, this can launch ahead at any time here, but okay, maybe the captures and the game continues. Here we have a very bold move which is played, which is Tom captures, and after pawn captures, Banshee to e7 somehow opens the field, but you all know the tactic, king to h1, and the idea is to put the egg on g1. So you're losing anyways the game, but maybe you save yourself against big tactics going from the Hydra here. But now you have to find some big plan of attack here. So we have Ghoul to h6, which is played, so maybe the idea of to put the Banshee here. And now we have egg to d1, Banshee to g5 is played, and now pawn to f4. We have Banshee to h4, trying to get some pressure. I feel like this Banshee is pretty passive here. We have the egg to g1. What you should try to get for is, okay, I mean, this is crazy, but this, and check. Maybe this is your ticket to get some better position, but it takes a lot of time, and you have to be sure that your other pieces are well placed, because for now they are in the wrong place of the board, and I mean, this threat can come over later on, so not that easy to play. Here we have come to d8, which is played, and now egg to g4, come to e7 defending, and now drag to a4. Here this attacks the Tom, and I guess the idea is just simply to get this very nice spot. Here again you should go here and try to get for the wall reroute, but now we have Tom to b7, and now the drake goes to c5, and again this gets a tempo here, so you have to react. So Tom to c7 is played. Here something that you can try here is something else than this. Here see that this drake has lost his twin brother, and when this is the case, he can gain this very nice pattern and play exactly 2-2 on jump for just move. So he can decide to get it here actually and try to reroute this here. So that can be interesting, and can later get this square, and then I will attack here. Like, this is not easy to play this position against that, but okay, this can be playable. After turn to c7, and now we have Wyvern to e2. And at first I didn't understand the idea, but soon I got this, because after Ghoul to h5, now there's egg to g6, and somehow there's some pressure on here. You have to be careful. Now we have pawn to c6 defending the pawn, and now we have to f3 setting an awful trap. But somehow, by accident or willing, praseodymiumspike played the best move in the position, which is wolf to c8. And this looks like a random move, but it helps to defend against the big tactic e3gewinnt had his mind, because now we have the very awful Drake captures the pawn. Here you can decide to ignore the threat here, but okay, goes for a threat and seems like you're winning, and actually you are with the vampires, because after pawn captures, egg captures, e3gewinnt was thinking that if you captures with the count, then you capture with the Drake, and this is pinned. And if you take one square, you're going to get it vanished. But the count captures exactly one square away, so it creates a ghoul on the way. And after Wyvern captures d5, you can just capture here and capture there, and you're back into the game with the vampires. How incredible is that? The only problem is that praseodymiumspike was so tilted after the move 36 that he was thinking that there was never not much things to be done, and captured. This is so sad. We missed that, but okay, it happens. We have now Hydra to d3 getting the light squares, and we have this very weird move, Ghoul to g6. Okay, the idea is that if you capture here, okay, this is going to be your captured. Only problem is that you can capture with check. And you can't capture that, because you have to defend your king first, and it costs one turn to do this. So here, best move in the position is to play this, because after this it attacks the Banshee, and of course you can't play here, because that will be checked and you lost the Banshee here. So now you have several choices on what to do with your Banshee. Do you want to put this here, or do you want to defend with that? That's very hard to answer. Maybe you could go with Banshee to f2. But after this, you have to be very careful, because now head to d6 is going to go. And if you're not paying attention, now after Ghoul takes g6, it's going to make a head, and now it would promote to an egg. And after, let's say, check, then you're going to be checkmated right here. So, okay, this was the way to go, but here instead we have Hydra to e4, which is played, and I don't understand this move. Banshee takes f2, again, you still have this kind of move, which is very interesting. And let's say king to f8, now you can have the very ugly looking move at 2d6, and you can't even take here, because that would create a head and capture the king. So this is not possible, and now how are you going to defend yourself against this promotion? You can't. So you can straight up resign the game. But instead we have to d6 directly, and this is pretty sad, wrong move order here. And after king to f7, I mean, you can decide to capture actually, and okay, trades ahead, and maybe there's this going on the board with Hydra to g6. But yeah, okay, that can be played. I'm not sure this is playable. Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe you can capture the second one, and now you have to get back a piece. Maybe there's this on the board, captures. Oh, and oh, it captures two heads, so it would put a piece on the board. So you have to be careful here, because now I can have this move, which is check, and after this there's checkmate here. Okay, this is not that easy to deal against the position. So king to f7 maybe would be best. Now we've had captures e7, and okay, you're not forced to recapture immediately, but after a recapture is here, now the Hydra goes to b7 and puts ahead, and it promotes to an egg. So this is in this position on move 41 that black decides to resign the game, as there was nothing much to be done. Basically you're dead, as the egg is going to join the attack, and you're going to face some bad times here. So yeah. sad that there was a big blunder on the beginning of the game, but okay, somehow happened, so these factions are tricky anyways. But here praseodymiumspike can get his revenge, because now they're going to switch places and play the same factions. So we're going to see how it goes. Okay, so for the second game, now praseodymiumspike gets the white pieces with the Dragons faction, and e3gewinnt gets the black pieces with the Vampires faction. Nothing to add, I guess we can go straight up to the game. The game starts with head to e4, Ghoul to e6, head to d4, Ghoul to d5, the French defense, and now with head captures and Ghoul captures. And somehow this head trade is pretty good, because once a second pair of head would be traded, now you would get this very light tactic with the Hydra. We have now Wyvern to f4, so trying to cheese for the same idea of before, but now Banshee to f6 is played. I mean, you could have gone here for the simple wolf to f6, and after, let's say, go here, there's captures. I mean, okay, the vampires would be up a pawn, but okay, they would lose 3 pawns for the piece. No, 2 pawns for the pins. So I'm not sure that this is what they wanted. So Banshee to d6 is the best move to be played here. This is a nice way to counteract it. So you could decide to capture here, but the only problem is that you're not forced to capture with that. You can capture with this, so that would be okay. In the game we have Hydra to f3. And I think this is not the right move to be played, because now the Banshee can very happily trade on f4, and after Hydra captures, the special trick of the Wyvern can't apply because this piece is just gone. So somehow the vampires are better. And this is going to worsen for the dragons, because now we have wolf to f6. So attacking the Hydra with this blood jump, so you have to put it in the right square, and now Hydra goes to h4. I'm not sure this is the right move, because it runs to Ghoul to g5, and now you can't take it, else you're going to be taken here. Something very risky that you can go for is Hydra to h6. Looks very terrifying, because maybe you can run into here. Only problem is that now you run this very tricky Banshee to f5. And now, believe it or not, but the Hydra is completely trapped, because you can't go anywhere. And also that threatens here. So be careful not to be trapped here. So instead we have Hydra goes to g3, we have wolves to c6, and now white is going to play a very bad move. But this is hard to see why this is bad. The move is Wyvern to d3. Can you spot why this move is a blunder? Because I can tell you, the game is completely lost for the dragons. The move is Ghoul g4. What a move. This move threats to capture the Hydra, because the Banshee can take it and slide one square off only. So these squares are occupied by the Banshee. This Ghoul occupies also these squares. So now the idea is that where are you going to put the Hydra? Of course, this is attacked by this. This is attacked by this. So now, what's the last square you can go to? This one. But unfortunately, this is defended here. So this lonely g4 just completely traps the Hydra. This is just crazy. So what you should play here in this position to try to survive is to play a Wyvern to f5. The only problem is that after this, Banshee captures. Now you face the same problem before, because this Banshee controls the square here. So you actually have no way of surviving that. So here in this position we have Hydra to e3, and wolf to g4 catches the Hydra here. So now black is up 5 points on material, the game is completely open for the white pieces, so now you run into come to g5, and now it goes with a double threat, and this is almost impossible to defend. So the only good move that you can try is king to f2, but you see that this is problematic here. Something you can go for, even I'm not liking that move much, is trying to go with wolf to b4, trying to get an exchange here. And the idea is that maybe someday you can try to capture and try to get some threat here. Even something better could be played here, I mean. But okay, I really like this move. Let's say that you can't really move your stuff here, so maybe you're going to play direct to e2, maybe in this position, and now maybe you can try to let me see. I can maybe play immediately Banshee to g4 and try to get some takes and try to get something here out here. I mean, this position looks very scary here. But instead we have the other move order with Banshee to g4 immediately, cuts the diagonal, but it runs into pawn to h3, Banshee to g5, and pawn to g4. Here we have come to h4 with check, and you can continue the game if you play something like king to e2. And normally you're pretty safe here. And even if he tries to sacrifice itself with capture with a Ghoul, then you just have to play direct to f3, and there's double attack here, and this is pretty hard to defend, and maybe the other pieces are going to join the game, you maybe face this kind of threat. Only problem is that you maybe would run here. Oh, I didn't consider this move. Come to g2 is completely... oh man, you're going to lose the game here. Because after captures here, this promotes this Ghoul here. So maybe not that easy to spend here, so how you defend that? Wow. With this, and if captures, now you can try to get your revenge this way? Is that what you're supposed to play? Okay, maybe this was the move. Instead, in the game, we have king to g2, which is played, and now it runs to the same tactic, Banshee captures, and now the pawn captures with g4, and this is very important because it goes with check. So now you have to play the king on the right spot, and here king to f1 is tried, but I think this is a blunder. I should have tried king to f2, I think. Okay, it goes very terrifying here because there's pawn to g3 check, and after, let's say, king to e2, there's this move which can be played, and now, okay, you're going to lose something, but you're going to run into the same mess with king to f1. Maybe you just lost. Pawn to d1 is played now, and after king to g2, now we have the ugly pawn to c1, and now it threats to capture this and promote to a tomb. I mean, you can try to get this move going on, and after this, you can't save this. So maybe you're forced to go here, and then this is going to play this way, and now maybe you can try to strike this way and try to survive the position. But you're dead lost here. Instead, we have pawn to a4 trying to save the egg, but now it takes on b2, and by taking it creates a Ghoul that promotes. So now the vampires are 10 points up of material, and you have to play egg to f3, and now you lost another piece with the threat of promotion. So yeah, very hard. Here in the game we have at to c4, and the idea is that you capture and almost trap the count here. Only thing is that you play against the vampire, so the count can take its own Ghoul, and now this egg is completely trapped, and you can't do anything to save it. So we have egg to c3, which is played, and now the count captures on c3. And you see that by capturing the egg, it hatches a whelp, which is one square diagonal. And somehow this whelp is pretty cool because it allows you to control the promoting square here. So somehow you're not that dead. But you have now to face against the new threat, which is to go here with check and capture here. So we have a drag to e2, which is played, but now we have a count to d2 anyways, which is played, and you have to defend this pawn. So king to f3 is tried, but this is not enough. Because after full castle, I can assure you that these pieces are going to go for the attack. But something even worse happened, because the dragons tried a counter-attack with egg captures h4, but this is not winning, because this was countering the wall back rank here. So now you run into a pawn to f1 check, and after king to g2, now you have come to e1, and now how are you going to defend this, how are you going to defend that? So in the game, drag to g4 is tried to control this square, but the only problem is that it doesn't defend against pawn to g1 check, king to f3, and actually e3gewinnt missed a winning tactic here, which is count to f3 with check. So you're forced to go here, then count to g2 with check, and here you see that everything's controlled, so you have to go somewhere basically. So king drag to f2 would be forced, and now you can play count to f1 with check, and after a king to d2 then you can play count to e1, and this is checkmate if I'm not mistaken. But instead in the game we have pawn to g3 check, king goes to f4, and now you have to continue the game and try to get the best attack going on here. But we have Ghoul to h5. So the idea is to kick the drake so you can get the mate here or mate here. But we have Wyvern to f5 check, king to b8 and drake to f6, so trying to escape. Only problem is that that doesn't defend from checkmate, and come to f2 finishes the game. So, very sad game. Again, Hydra even play these factions like a beast, I have to say. So, congrats to him. And praseodymiumspike just had a bad time here. But don't worry, on the next round, maybe he'll play better. So, the game ends here. I hope you like this encounter of this round 3 of the matches in Euro tournament. We're going to see next time for a new encounter. See you then. Bye.